This is gonna be so much fun, you guys, because I actually have both palettes to do. This brush. Hey good looking, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, I'm Kendra Morgan Official. I like to put out content weekly centered around makeup brushes that aren't Morphe, sunscreen setting sprays, and single eyeshadows. So if you like that kind of content, subscribe to my channel, like, ring-a-ding that notification bell, and let's jump into this. Today I've got for you guys, let me see if I can do it. Yeah, the Natasha Denona Safari Dupe Palette, and here she be. Looky, looky. I did a great job of duping this palette with Sydney Grace and ColourPop shadows. But before I get into the swatches and the names that correlate with each of the shadows, let's get into this tutorial. One of my eyes has on the Natasha Denona side, and the other side is the Sydney Grace / ColourPop shadows. So let's let the fun begin. Let's just put some of this guy right here all over. My left eye is going to be my ColourPop Sydney Grace, and my right is going to be Natasha Denona. That I'll just dig into here. Just put that all over the lid. Let's dip into this shade right here and buff this into the crease. We already know Sydney Grace is good. This is Sydney Grace's Toffee. And then also buff it underneath. In Natasha Denona's palette, it's Tamarind. I already see it. I'm gonna put one of my nails in one of these shadows, and it's probably gonna be the expensive palette. Also buff a little of that underneath the eye as well. So I don't know, I think these are kind of similar. One's a Smith 235, and then the other one is from My Destiny. And if you guys have never seen my brush review, I'm going to link it in the eye and down below. You can go check it out. Let's use one of these shades up in here. Let's go with, put him on the kind of outer V low crease. Color is Shea in the Natasha Denona palette. Oh my goodness, look at this pigmentation. Woo! Sweet baby Jesus in a manger. That's pigment for days. Tell you what, let's go ahead and sweep some of that underneath the lower lash line as well. I've got the Rougher and the MAC 239. They're kind of similar-ish. Let's do these two shades. So let's do this one closer to the outer third, and then we'll do this one on the inner third. Okay, I mean, there's pigment there. I can see it. Maybe just have to dip into it again. Let's see here. This brush isn't very soft, that's for sure. I'm going to flip over the brush and put some of that darker shade, that pink, that dusty pink, kind of over here. I don't know if it's just this particular shade. I know that Sydney Grace's other matte shadows that I've used have never done this. They're always like buttery soft. But this was hard from the get-go. With this guy, I'm going to dip into Aya. There's a lot of kickback in the pan. Let me show you in the pan. You can see right in there. These are very, very soft pigments, shadows. All right. Flip over the other side, and then I will dip into Lotus. Again, I'm getting a lot of kickback, not a big deal. Just make sure you tap off that excess. You can see that right there. And then just add it. Oh man. And then I'm flipping this over and just blending it into. Okay, they don't look similar. Yeah, there's a lot more buffing going on that one. You can see that this shade right here is a lot darker and chocolatey or brown than this shade. It's more of a red tone, so when it blends out it's more reddish. Okay guys, that's it for eyeshadow. Let's drag a little bit of this Savannah, and this is Sydney Grace's Moss, down on the lower lash line, right up into that. It worked really good. Let me just stamp it also up in the very top portion too. Okay, yeah, it looks really pretty for both sides. I'm noticing I'm having to dip in just a couple extra times with the Sydney Grace shadow, but not too bad. They look really close on camera, and in person I can't tell the difference either, so it seems like that's a really good shade match. Okay guys, this is it. This is the completed look. I think it turned out wonderful. I will say a couple of mentions here. The darker the pigment, you guys, I'm not used to putting up the palettes. I'm used to putting up my single shadows, so bear with me. I will say, when you start getting into these deeper tones like Shea right here, you really have to match very, very, very closely the undertones. Otherwise, that is where you start to tell the difference between, you know, the eye looks. I think the look turned out great. You did have to dip in a couple extra times on those lighter shadows with those Sydney Grace shadows, but other than that, spectacular for both ends. Let's get into some dupes here. I'm gonna start with the top row, and then I'm just going to move over, and then second row, and so on and so forth. The first shade that I'm duping is Malia, and it is shade number 175. This is an all matte palette, so it is all going to be CM, so the numbers are going to be your code number, and then CM for creamy matte. And I have Hear Me Out by ColourPop. The next shade in my dupe palette that dupes the Fata Morgana is Unique's Matte Shadow Cynical. And Fata Morgana is a deep sea blue. And then here is Unique's Cynical. And I did check, this one is still available for sale, so I'll go ahead and link that down below, and it will be an affiliate link. So if you guys choose to purchase from that link, then you will be supporting my channel. So thank you so much for that. Next up in the Natasha Denona, we have Rhino, which is a green toned gray, and the dupe for that is Vanguard by Sydney Grace. It looks like I didn't quite match the undertones 100%. This one is a little bit more red, and this one is a more gray undertone. Next, in the in the Natasha Denona, we have Stone 178 CM, which is described as a pale, cool gray. And for that, I duped it with Sydney Grace's Moon Landing. It looks like Sydney Grace's is quite a bit deeper in tone, and it also has that red undershift, whereas Natasha Denona really stays true to the cool undertone. Natasha Denona's Savannah is Shadow 179 CM. It is described as an olive khaki, and I found Sydney Grace's Moss to be an excellent dupe for that. So here we go. Not too bad, not too bad. This one's a little more green. This one is a true more olive gray undertone again. Natasha Denona's Aya is described as a pale apricot, and for that I chose Summer Magic by Sydney Grace. Natasha Denona's Thorn is described as a deep rust, and I chose Sydney Grace's New Shadow Mom Ride. Natasha Denona's Desert Date is described as a creamy peach. This one was actually hard. I couldn't really find anything in my collection that really duped it very well, but I did find Sydney Grace's Tangerine to be the closest. You can definitely tell there's a difference in undertones, but again, it does stick with that nice grungy safari theme, kind of earth tones. Shea is described by Natasha Denona as cinnamon brown, and for that I found a great dupe to be Dark Chocolate by Sydney Grace. Ooh, looking good, looking good. I got those to match up pretty good. Last shade in the second row is Tribe. It's described as a bright tangerine, and I didn't have any bright tangerines, but I found ColourPop's Meteorite to be a close dupe. Did check the website, and the shade You Got It is a matte bricky orange, and I think it would honestly dupe it better if I had it. I think it's out of stock right now though, but they're not too bad. Like, I could get down with that, and I feel like you guys could too. Natasha Denona's Lotus is described as a muted pink, and for that I found Sydney Grace's Faithful to be an excellent dupe. However, it kind of hard pans on me. It doesn't really, oops, I bet you guys missed that, but it doesn't swatch very good at all. Amhara is a Terracotta Coral by Natasha Denona, and for that I found ColourPop's Top Notch to be a great dupe for that. Is the ColourPop. ColourPop's formula actually is very, very, very close to that creamy matte that people look for in a Natasha Denona shadow. This has a more brown undertone than the Natasha Denona, which is a more plummy purple. Voodoo is described by Natasha Denona as a deep Merlot. For that, I found Cloud 9 by ColourPop to be an excellent dupe. Yeah, this one has a little bit more red, and this one has a little bit more purple under. Last but not least, Natasha Denona's Tamarind is described as a camel beige, and I found Sydney Grace's Toffee to be a great dupe. Natasha Denona sticks with that traditional khaki, you know, with the yellow undertone, and this is a more pink, cool undertone, but I feel like they're in the same family. That is it for my Natasha Denona dupe video. Tell me in the comments down below how you guys think I did on duping the Natasha Denona Safari Palette. Do you like it? Do you have any of these shadows in your collection that might serve as a dupe for this palette? Originally, I would have stated to always go with the singles that you wanted to add to your collection, but since this palette has went on sale for $64.50, it wouldn't be a bad idea to pick it up if this is something that you really truly find as a color story you can get down with. Just keep in mind, these up here probably are going to go muddy on you, as with almost any gray toned shadow will. It'll basically look like gravel dust put on your eyelid. So just keep that in mind. If this is the color story that you're really truly after, you know, I might suggest that you also look at these and see if you want to invest in this. I think that Natasha Denona overall did a really great job. These are shadows that I reach for on the daily. So if any of these shadows are something that you are considering picking up, then I would highly recommend them. About the only shadow that I can't truthfully, honestly recommend is this Sydney Grace Faithful. I don't know if I just got a shadow that just was pressed harder than others, but it just does not work for me at all. That is it for my dupes video. What do you guys think? Are you planning to pick up any of the single eyeshadows? Let me know in the comments down below. And also, if you guys like this type of content, make sure that you hit the thumbs up button on your way out. Thanks so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you guys in my next video. Bye.